Good evening to Bob, Lynn, Richard and Stuart are already in the room. Lots tonight, including the DFY MCB. We'll get going in a moment. Well, hello, good evening, and welcome. Hello to Lynn, Barry, Stuart. We've got Laurie in, Bob, and Richard, and more will come in as we go along and as we get warmed up. So, good evening to you all. Stefan's just popping in as well.
And happy Friday.
And we got Colin popping in as well. By the way, I actually remembered to put the link in the group this week.
Wow.
I know
we're really pushing the boundaries now.
I know we're pushing the boat out this week, especially after the last couple of weeks of people unwell. I know you've been struggling, Robert, haven't you?
You know, I truly believe now that instead of worrying about the big things that are going to happen in life, it's the small things that are going to get us every time. What do I mean by that? You remember when they had the what was it called? Bubonic plague with the rats, with the fleas.
Wasn't that something Steve Austin had?
Probably.
$6 million man or whatever it was, wasn't it?
No, that happened in England.
Was it? It was only us that had him.
Yeah, it wiped out half you guys from being sick. But it's the same thing again. You know, COVID comes in, right?
Yeah.
It wipes out people. It's a virus. It's the smallest things out there.
Robert, I've got a backup plan, right? If you're really badly ill, I've got a backup plan.
Hello, there you go.
Hello, I'm half invisible, but it's Robert here. There we go. Look. Hello, welcome to DFY Magic Themes. So I've got him as a backup.
Every time I cough, you got to bring him up. So, anyways, what I was getting at is it's the small things. I learned this week, and I had no idea, but there's actual creatures that are called dust mites that are live. They're like microorganisms that are floating around, and in America, anyways, it's like this. All of a sudden, all these people are sick with dust mites in their home. So it's not just physical dust; they're actually living microorganisms that are floating around in the air. And if you start looking online, it's everywhere about what they're selling are the UV lights to kill the dust mites in the air, as well as allergens and other things. And I had this respiratory stuff going on in my own home while we're under construction, which is dust. But not only the dust, whatever. So I was doing some research on it, and I see this stuff is everywhere now. So it's the little things that are it's the mold in the walls, it's the mold in the AC ductwork, it's the dust mites that lead into other things that weaken our immune systems. So it made me think, you know, we did HVAC, and we're always talking about niching down, that in the future, we're going to do duct cleaning. In the future, we're going to do, AC germicidal lights. That's a biggie for HVAC companies, because it's I don't know what they're getting for them, but I'm going to say $300 to $500 is the average price to have those installed. And if you guys don't know what that does, it's an ultraviolet light that they put in your ductwork, that when the air passes through it, it's killing airborne spores like mold, allergens, and other things like that. They run them in the hospitals a lot. So everybody's home at this point in time should have one of those in your AC system, because once you have a little bit of mold growth in the air handler, the air duct system is the perfect way to spread it throughout the entire house. So when you bring the air in, you clean it, you sterilize it, and you put it out to the house. So that's the niching down. You go from HVAC, you go to, ultraviolet germicidal lights, you go to dust mite eradication. Same thing. It's that same light that'll do that in the ductwork. So that being said, this is how we can keep growing forward. We can keep getting into niches that are beneficial, because health for everyone, I don't care where you are, health in the home is part of the air you breathe, the water you drink. That's another huge one, which we only going to go to at the moment. But the water that we get it's recycled sewer water, literally. If you guys don't know that, that's what they do. They take, if you're on a sewer system, they take it, they clarify it, clean it, give it back to you, and charge you twice.
That takes a piss a bit, doesn't it?
It sure does. It tastes like it sometimes. But these are things we're doing. So we started our next niche, and it's going to be roof cleaning. Thinking about niching down, it gives us from going from roofing to roof cleaning. It's another foot in the door. It's another way to look at how you get customers for the roofers, is get people to come out and clean the roof. Get out to people to come out and wash the walls on the house. They're all kind of the same companies, but that's what we're going to do next. It's going to be roof cleaning. And I think these are just like little sub niches that are going to help everybody get more clientele, because the roofers want roofs. No question. How do they get roofs? They get them by people coming out and clean their roof to realize that it's a bad roof and they got to replace it. Or they go ahead and clean it. But once they clean it once or twice, they become the roofer that's going to get called if they're the roofers that are also supplying roof cleaning services. They're not always the same. Some just do part of it. So yeah, these are all the ideas that come up as we go forward. But most importantly is the ease of use. The ease of use, how to build, ease of use, how to change things. And I wanted to say this again this week because I think that people are missing it. Roof cleaning, and another one in Denver, power washing, roof cleaning is and rendering. They call it rendering more so in the UK, which is the washing of the buildings, the actual walls and stuff, to take off the lesions and the moss and all of that stuff. But yeah, it all works. There's low pressure, high pressure, and there's chemical roof cleaning, and they all work differently. But then in addition to that, what I wanted to get into and say on these builds, if you guys aren't changing the company information, it's staying to the default. And the default, in many cases, is Robert's agency with a European phone number. That means nothing. So don't hurt your builds by putting out that information and not correcting it to your agency information, your phone numbers, and your company names. So you got to make sure that the admin emails are changed on the builds. If anybody doesn't know how to do that, you got to turn in a sport ticket and we'll go through it with you. But it's all in the training. And if we're not doing those things, you put the build up. I'm telling you, because I see it. It has Robert's agency, and it has a European phone number, and it has a Done For You Magic Themes email address. We don't mind getting the backlinks and getting the people to come look at us, but that's not the point of this. The point of this is for you to put your information, not ours. Does that make sense? Everybody Absolutely. Good with that? You want to put a 1 in the chat?
Bob, I'll answer your question when we're on the inner circle only. He sent me a direct message, which I don't mind saying to everyone when we're on the inner circle. And but we wanted to show the DFY Magic Code Builder to everyone, but in a way that doesn't have what you get if you buy a DFY Magic theme that's ready built with all the content, easy to install. But we want to show you some of the how it's working at the moment. We've got our dev who is literally a day or so away from completing the full plugin. Now, to say, guys who jumped in from day one with this, I class you the initial people before the final build that's coming out the next couple of days. Are beta testers, and I know you've had some minor issues with a critical error popping up here and there. The build that's coming out next has resolved all of that. It loads twice as fast now. It's nice and reliable. If you do get critical error for any reason on your current site, just you can nip into File Manager and go to the plugins folder. If you get stuck, message us on it, and we can help you. And in the plugins folder, you can delete the DFY MCB, and then you can reload it again with the latest copy you've already got, and that will resolve most issues. If you're happy to wait just 2 more days, I've been told by the end of Sunday it'll be done, and then Monday I will have it in the members area for you guys on the new licensing platform as well.
Why would you want to wait till Sunday? Is there any other benefit to waiting for that one?
Well, I would wait till Sunday, because rather than upgrade now to the one you've got in your members area, you could and if you're really worried about if your site's playing up and you want it working, upgrade now. That's what I say. All right, but on Monday/Tuesday, I will make sure in the members area the latest version of the plugins there for everyone, and there'll be an announcement in the Inner Circle group to go and get it set up, and we've tested, and there's just one little feature that he's adding between now and hopefully Sunday, which is going to be a nice find and replace feature in it. But if that doesn't come out straight away, I want to get you the current version out as soon as possible. But for those that aren't aware of our Magic Code Builder, which is a short code plugin, I'm going to share my screen.
Believe it or not, we've had some questions about what is it recently, and I thought that we had covered it. But I think this gives everybody the opportunity to see where it's at, where we're at now versus where we were a month ago. And
this is just, I mean, he's done an amazing job on this, on setting this all up for us. So I'm on the wrong. Bear with me. Let me just stop sharing a second, because I've got the wrong screen up, and let me find the right one, because I knew I'd do that tonight. But that's what happens when you've got 16 windows open, Robert.
Only 16? You're slacking.
Right, it's going to be on here.
I was commenting earlier today to Stephen about he helped me straighten out my drives and stuff, I don't know, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, whatever it was. And I got both my computers working right. And then my son gave me this tip about the mouse without borders. And now I have 4 screens and they work like one computer almost. It's not like exactly, but it's so close that I can take and drag and drop from one computer to the other computer. Nice. On the same mouse and keyboard. I used to have 2 mice and 2 keyboards. Now I just have one, and that mouse without borders is a free plugin, or a free. Is it a plugin? It's not even a plugin, I don't think.
It's an app.
It's an app. Look for it if you ever want to do that, so you can go from one screen to another on another computer. Really a time saver. To copy a code, go to another computer and be able to put that code in with a copy paste. Just that alone has saved me so much time and effort. But go ahead, Stephen.
Yeah. And to answer your question, Stefan's asked, will the new version be available to all users? Yes. Basically, there's 2 licensing options. Option 1 is if whether you're on a plan or you were lucky to get in on the Lifer deal over a year ago or more now. Everyone will get the current versions, but that's purely for your own sites. If you want to install it on client sites, it's the best way to describe it. You need the commercial version, and to get that, there is a one-time fee, and you can raise a support ticket. We've been mulling over the figures, and a couple of people who got in super early, I'm not going to name them, but a couple of people who got in super early, they got the best deal ever on the most licenses. But we're talking to the dev who's the third party in this for us. And so we're going to tweak the licensing accordingly on those. So but bring us a message, because we know the difference with who the lifers are and who's on a plan with us, and we can work things out for you.
But so the big difference there is, so you guys understand, if you want to put the MCB on a client site of their own build, you want to be able to do that with a commercial license. If you're going to build a site for them and rent it to it, you don't have to, because it's your site and you own it. But when they own the domain name and you're putting the plugin on their site to make it better for them, what happens is we've made full control of the licensing in your hands, because if they stop paying you on their domain name, you have control of that license. You go flip it off in your dashboard, and guess what? Their site is no longer working with the MCB.
And the whole site stops
That's
working.
the reasoning behind the licensing. You got to have that to protect yourselves. And we just figured that was the best way to do it. And there's a difference in it, that it's on somebody else's domain, on somebody else's hosting, and if they wanted to flip you off and say, I don't want to pay you anymore and I'm done, and you did all this work for me, what are you going to do? You can't do anything. But with the commercial version, you have that option, and you can reuse that license. You can shut them down temporarily and say, hey, if your site, you want it back up, it's only so much a month, or make a new deal, or tell them, we're done.
And the trick to this as well is to put all your content inside of the MCB. All right, as much content as possible, because when you turn that off, those shortcodes stop working. And so inside of here, the first thing you want to do, and the nice feature we've got now, is obviously you want to create your own shortcode category. So we click on categories, and I'll set up a category now. We'll call it DFY. I'll call it customer 1. And we're going to copy this. With the slug, you can put the same thing in. It'll put dashes in automatically. And it's up to you if you want a description or not. And we click add. So now we've got over here the DFY customer 1 category. So I'm now going to come up to all shortcodes. And this is the fun part now, where we can create a shortcode, add new. Call it, give it a title. This is when you first give it a title, it becomes the actual shortcode itself. And if you want to change it, I can show you how to do that. It's basically this URL link is what creates the shortcode. So if you went, oh, well, I'm not happy with the shortcode name, we can hit edit and change this and click OK. Now, once you've updated this, let me just get this to full screen because I can't see the edges. Once we publish the actual shortcode, the shortcode is going to stay as that, but we can now label this as whatever I want. So if I wanted this as Steve 1234 as the title, I can update this now. And when we come back to all shortcodes, we've got the shortcode Steve 5551 with the brackets, but the actual title is Steve 1234. When you're searching for a shortcode, you would actually search for this here and not the shortcode itself. So if I wanted to find just that shortcode on its own in here, we do a search and it finds it. Next step is to add it to categories. And what we love about this now is you can add it to more than one category in the system. So you've got multiple categories here on this right-hand side. You can tick the ones you want in, so you can have it company info and DFY customer 1. Now I'm going to untick company info because I only want it in that one. Hit update. And on the menu now, it's added DFY customer 1. And now we've got the shortcode. So let's add some content to the shortcode itself. I'll go to the text version, and we're just going to pop in some spun text. So we're going to go, hey, hello. Now, Spintax only works on websites inside of the MCB. If you want it to work on a normal page, you have to buy a Spintax plugin that will do that for you. All right. It's just how these plugins end up being built. We did ask if you could build it site wide, but there's a lot involved with doing that. It's a bigger cost when you can just go and buy a plugin or put your code inside of the MCB, so you don't have to worry.
In reality, what you said earlier makes the most sense, because you're putting your content inside the shortcode. You're getting the availability to spin the content, and if they stop paying you, you shut the license down, if that's how you're going. And that content no longer shows on that website.
Absolutely. So I put some spun content in. You can spin images as well if you want to. We're going to copy the actual short code. We're going to go pages, all pages. We're going to add a new page. Oh, wrong place. Add a new page. And now we're going to give it a title. And now I'm going to add a cadence block in here. We're going to go row. And what I love about Cadence as well, by the way, they've got a little design library that you can actually pull content in. So in this case, we'll pull this header in for this example. I've got something pre-made. So now what I can do, I can get rid of all of this content here and paste in my Steve 5551 shortcode. If you're using Elementor, can I just give you a little tip? When you create a header section inside of Elementor, do this first. All right, let's remove that. All right, you're gonna go just put some X's, put the short code in, then come back in front and remove the X's and do update. Otherwise, it will auto switch to a short code, which will still work. But if you want the sizes to be correct, it's advised that you do it that way. All right. This works with Elementor, it works with Cadence, it will work with most page builders that are on, even Divi it will work in, and I think there's a Oxygen page builder it should work with. Most of them, it should work without a problem, all right? If there are any that you do pick up on that on working, let us know. We'll see if we can adapt this to work with them. So now we've put this in here and I've updated it. I'm going to view the page. And if you look here now, we've got the word hello. If I respin this now, it should, in theory, after a few spins, change to boo. And we'll spin it again. Hi. So each time someone visits a page, it'll be different. And you can do that on as many shortcodes as you want. You can have as many categories as you want. And then when someone stops paying you and you log into the new area, which I can't show at the moment because the dev's working on it, but you'll be able to hit a button as an agency and go dunk, and that'll just change to a shortcode. That'll say Steve 555 instead of hi. So it's a nice little feature that has been built into it, gives you full control, and you get to keep your licenses as well.
Lori asked an interesting question.
Yeah.
I think it's a double answer actually, but she said, do you recommend adding pictures to our content in the shortcodes?
Yeah. What I love about this, Laurie, let me just come from my mouse and come back to the dashboard. Let's create a new shortcode. And we call it pick. So in here now, I start with a curvy bracket. I come in here, I look at the media library. Let's pick that there as an example. Insert into there. We do visual, by the way, so you can have a better idea. We're going to do a pipe. Then what we're going to do now is find another add to media library. We'll do a pipe, add to media library, and we do a closed curvy bracket. So now that's been in these three images. All right. We're going to publish it. So it's all done. And now I'm going to come back to the shortcode area. I'm going to grab the pick one, copy it. We're now going to come back to pages, all pages, and find my Steve 111, edit. And let's whack a photo. Let's have a bit of fun and whack a photo in here. So what you literally need to do, I whack a paragraph in, whacking that in there, do update. And let's see if this has worked how I'm hoping it's worked. There's your picture. And each time you refresh it, oh, look, there's a different picture.
So how easy or can you not put that as your hero image?
Oh, well, that's, you know what? I haven't tried. And if it, let's give it a try, shall we?
Because that would be what's interesting is if the harder images of the build could be a shortcode or not.
So let's click in the box area itself. Make sure. I always have problems finding the heroes. Let's come up and look at the row layout. Must be on here. There it is. So let's bin that. Let's do URL. See if it let me do that first. Right, let's try. It doesn't like it, which is frustrating. I will ask the dev if we can find a way of doing it, because that'd be a nice feature to have, wouldn't it? If you could put that in there. I don't know if we can put any forward slashes in. No.
Well, you'd have to save the image as a URL somewhere in the media library. Take that URL and then put it in there, and it probably would work.
There might be a way. Let's try this out, actually. Let's go to open this in a new tab and go to the MCB all shortcodes. Let's find the pick one. Let's view it. See what happens when we put that URL in here instead.
I think that's going to work, actually.
I've done wrong. I've got that in front, that's why. Didn't like it, but I bet my dev could get that to work.
Well, let's take a sampling. Out of all of you in the room, put a 1 in the chat if you'd rather see a hero section as a shortcode, or just have the availability to change the shortcodes for images in other places in the site that it's like spun content to go with your blogs or with your main content sections. So 1 if you want it for headers and the normal pictures, and 2 if you want it for just the other stuff. Of course, it's both.
I was just looking because sometimes you can do an overlay of text. Overlay. No. We'll play around with that, Robert, and see if we can find a way around it. There probably is a way to do it, and if not, my dev could write something that would make that work with a URL. So we will get an answer to that question, because I'd love a feature like that, wouldn't you?
It makes things so much easier, especially when you're making multiple versions of the same sites.
Yeah. Dashboard. Pages, all pages.
So is there any other outstanding features that our current members don't know about?
But we've mentioned the licensing, we've mentioned the these features, and like I said, the only other feature we're adding at some point in the next few weeks will be finding a place where if you want to search for the $sign and replace it for the pound sign, or an American word replaced for an English word, or vice versa, you'll be able to do that eventually all within one plugin.
And what about, is it just Gutenberg that we can build in?
Gutenberg, Element, Cadence, Gutenberg, Elementor. There's Oxygen Page Builder. There's Divi, and there's another one I forgot what it's called that's out there that we know it works in as well. So pretty much anywhere we can put a shortcode on a WordPress website is where it's going to work. So, and I think the only other thing I will mention is and we mentioned this last week, if you want a layout of a whole load of content, so for an example, you've got text and image and text that you've done with an external image URL. Create that in HTML and paste that into the text version on our MCB. Now, on that layout, the quick way of if you've done a layout on a page yourself and you want to convert it, do a search for text to HTML, paste the text in, and then click convert to HTML. It'll add all the page breaks and code for you automatically. We are doing training videos on that anyway at some point very soon. That's the plan behind it. So on this point, we are going to go to the inner circle only tonight. I know last week a button didn't happen, so some people who watched on one of the other channels got some extra info free of charge for once, and it's not going to happen tonight. I'll tell you that, because I'm pressing the right buttons. So we will see everyone in the free groups next week. I'm just going to pull up the right screen, and we'll keep you up to date on where we're going with building local niche websites. We've got lots and lots happening as we move along. I see Robert's come back. I nearly had to get the Robert 2 out, you know. There's Robert 2.
Hey, that would have worked.
Yeah.
I'd rather walk away than sit there and die on the screen.
Right, we're gonna say goodbye to the free groups, Robert.
See you soon, everybody.
Here,